whether it's purposeful or unpurposeful, but like jumping to conclusion as evidence, which I would describe as like it will probably end up being misinformation around this. There's a lot of that. And it's very hard for me to keep track of all of it. I'm not even going to – there was one thread I was looking at yesterday, and I'm like, what proof? I don't think it would have to be that way. I think a lot of – first of all, people call every single thing that ever happened a conspiracy now, and I think that actually hurts, hiding real conspiracies because, like, that is not the case. There are plenty of things where, whether you like it or not, it's not a conspiracy. It's just like bad people did bad shit, or, people were careless or something like that. But then there are the real ones, and there's some where when you look at something like this, when you can create a, to use the Joker term, chaos, in the middle of everything where people don't know it's coming, even though people have their phones up, people are jumping around like this, creating different angles, different perspectives, illusions, if you will. I use that word very deliberately there. It gives room for a lot of people, say, in positions of authority, whether that be campus police, regular police, sheriffs, to not have anything to do with it. Legitimately not be in on it, not even have an inkling about it, but just because of the shock factor of what happened, all the little teeny things that 3 or 4 people were in on, you don't notice it, or it looks like it could be something else. That's why I do think people jump into conclusions with watching people reacting is going too far. Yeah. Because people react in all different ways. There's people who freeze.
But it's a state case. That's the other thing. I mean, the FBI is investigating, helping, but it's state charges. I mean, it's a local prosecutor.
Right.
I don't know. It's Utah where they're kind of like, I don't know, like, again, these sheriffs were kind of like, I just got the vibe like they wouldn't be afraid to be like, they would want to tell their people the truth. You know what I mean? They're kind of like on their own out there. They don't really care about the feds. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're annoyed by the feds.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but wouldn't someone be sounding the alarm from inside law? Why would they be in on it? Why would the local prosecutor be in on it?
I don't think they would be.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I don't think those guys would be. What I do want to know, this is where it gets more to how they've been dealing with the case after the fact, is what the details are here of his lack of cooperation. Because Tyler Robinson turned himself in, which by all accounts, that's how it went down. Yeah. That's what my guy like broke down exactly how it happened, and that appears to be what it was. And then suddenly, the governor comes out and says, but he's not cooperating. That was a little weird. Is it just when you talk to these guys, were they saying like, he's a killer that had to change of heart on admitting guilt because the death penalty is there?
Well, maybe. They didn't, so they were careful about some things they would say. I mean, it's an ongoing case. So like there were some things they weren't going to talk about, like him and stuff. I mean, he's in their jail, and they told me he's getting a lot of letters and stuff, which was kind of, I guess, not a surprise. But in terms of specifics, they wouldn't go there. But it would make sense. I mean, once you get a lawyer, they're going to tell you not to talk anymore. I mean, if he gave the confession with his dad and the family friend, once he got in, that part I don't think is that weird that he stopped talking. Also, once you realize like they're trying, once you realize these people are trying to kill me.
Right. But like he knew he'd be facing that when he turned himself in.
Probably. But do you think he really thought all of that through?
I want to be careful because I don't want to say like what my guy said.
Yeah.
I'll say this. The way he was described to me was dead to the world.
Interesting.
Dead to the world. And there was a very clear piece of evidence on that, which is not how the father was described. The father was described as emotionally completely distraught.
And when you say he was described as dead to the world, Tyler Robinson.
Lights are on, nobody's home.
Like he was given something to be dead to the world?
No, they didn't say that.
Okay.
I mean that's a whole nother layer. Maybe, but that's not what. More like, people that give you 1,000-yard stare, and they're just not there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, people also, I've seen it. People have psychotic breaks.
Yes. I
mean, you've just done something that is crazy. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I don't know. The text messages are weird, obviously. which the sheriff acknowledged to me. You know, the text messages between him and the...
You're taking the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you what you thought of those. I mean, it sounded like my grandfather
I guess I just wanted to say, I'm not trying... I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to make the point one way or the other.
You know that Steve Buscemi meme where he's dressed like a kid and he's like, hello there, fellow children?
Yeah.
That was the vibes I got from...
Very weird.
Right?
And even the sheriff admitted that to me.
I appreciate that.
He's like, yeah, you know.
So how does he explain, like, in admitting that, like, how does he explain it?
He doesn't know. I mean, he's like, they talk to each other strangely, you know?
Mm.
And also the roommate / lover, where is gone. We don't know where. Maybe witness protection program. Yeah. So that's...
Don't you think like a little transparency, not saying like, oh, he's in our witness protection program, but be like, don't you think you could come out in a press conference and be like, by the way, we know exactly, we're talking with him. We know exactly.
Yeah, well, they've made clear since the very beginning that he is not a person of interest, and they kind of went out of their way from the very beginning to say that over and over again, which makes me think that he's like very cooperative and they are kind of trying to protect him.
But also, how do you say that when he's on these texts? You know, in my opinion, when you read the transcript of the text, not like admitting or in any way that he was a part of planning it, he does seem to be like, oh, you did this? But
yeah,
there's also an aspect of like, you could be saying like, oh, you mean you did this? I'm going to write that.
But also like they dress up in these like furry costumes. Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of like we're trying to, I don't know how to understand these people. Like, you know what I mean?
It's strange.
Yeah. Like they might just be really weird.
That is certainly, certainly a possibility. And I appreciate you looking at this through the lens of like, yeah, because it's also like a brave thing to do in today's society where everyone wants to run to the worst case possible, like craziest scenario.
Yeah.
But looking through it to the lens of like, all right, what are the best, who am I talking with? What are the best facts I can get? You know, as the story changes, I'll change, but you really got to show me stuff that's more than like, look at that guy doing
Well, and this is one of those stories where for me, I feel like my role is like, I will get, like I put out the interview with the sheriff, got it on video, put it out, went up on the roof. Like I will put out what I can find out, but I'm not like, you can do with that what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to tell you innocent until proven guilty with Tyler Robinson. Like, you know what I mean? There's certain cases where it's like, I feel like I'm trying to show people like the outcome or the reason or who's responsible. But like with this one, it's like, I'm just going to give you the information and people can decide how they want it. You know what I mean?
I think that's very smart.
Yeah.
The way
and also he's not been, I mean, he's going to go to trial probably. Like it's not my job to say this guy's guilty right now. That's not the way our system works.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're doing it like by the book in a way. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cause it like, goddamn, the amount of, whether it's purposeful or unpurposeful, but like jumping to conclusion as evidence, which I would describe as like, it will probably end up being misinformation around this. There's a lot of that. And it's very hard for me to keep track of all of it. I'm not even going to, there was one thread I was looking at yesterday and I'm like, what proof? And it was trending like crazy on this case. I'm like, what